Well, nothing lasts forever in Houston, and this swing was also lost. This is my third one, and they all rust here horribly. This time, though, it is still holding firm, but the fabric cover for shade is gone. The seats were gone too, and I had to find these replacements that are kind of clumsy, but this is not going to work at all. Until I need to say goodbye to this for real, I'm going to make a cover. Now, I've seen a lot of shelters done with palm leaves. The problem is they were always coconut palms, where they have the spine right down the middle and then the leaves on either side, in which case you can slice it and weave it, make a nice, tight, beautiful weave, and make shelters out of it. What I have is this. It's not even close. So I am going to just make this up as I go along, and whether it works or whether it doesn't, I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So the first thing I'm doing is removing these horrible thorns that are on all the palm trees here in Houston. If you can see that, I'm just taking the machete and driving it down the seam. Just like they do on Naked and Afraid. You take that machete and just force it through the fibers until it splits. There you go. All right, once we have enough of those, we'll get our pile and start layering up here with the spines intact so that we can tie them together to create a ribbing of sorts. Now, in the hopes of keeping the twine from slipping, I'm actually creating a knot on the top and bottom here. And that's where I'm going to make sure that the twine sticks into the grooves so it doesn't shuffle around too much. And I find that if I tie the knot right there in the knot, that it's got a better shot at staying tight while I make the loop. Gives me that extra third finger that I need, so that this doesn't go all loosey-goosey. Okay, I made, let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ribs here. And I just laid them down. I haven't strapped them down yet. They're just tied to each other and laid across. Whew. But the thunder's starting to roll, so I may have to give up soon. One thing I wanted to say is that after pulling them from the tree, I threw palm fronds into the swimming pool, hoping that it would kill any bugs that were on it, so I stopped to clean the pool. But yeah, I just did not want to have to deal with any bugs that might have been living there. Just a little heads up. Now, for my next move, I think I'm going to go ahead and try and weave it up, over, and under, and then strap it down, lash it down. But to make my cuts, to make sure that the lashing stays in place, I'm going to use a marker to mark where I'm going to do it, and then make the cuts. From there, I will come back up here and lash it down. Now, the wind has already been picking up quite a bit, so while doing this, I was also taking the time to lash down the sides here because it kept falling off even as I was working. It was driving me insane. So it was pretty simple. I just tied it here and then looped it around the metal bar a couple of times and gave it a good tie there. Some of them where I had extra rope, I also came back around and tied here for extra measure. If I didn't, I just tied it right there and it was good enough. So now these 3 ribs are lashed in, and I just finished that crossbar. I'll do another crossbar there and then get the other 2 and some crosses there. And I don't know if you can see this, but as well as lashing them down, I'm also weaving the ribs in between. This rib is on top of that one, and now it comes under this one and back on top of that one. And I used the natural curve of it, and it's really locked in there. I'm still going to lash it down, but it's really locked in there. Now I have to say I've only had to actually marker the places to knock it in the very first two. After that, the pressure of weaving them has held them in place, and I can just knock it with the machete right in place. So here's the top of what I've got so far, all the ribbing in place. I think how I'm going to continue this is to simply keep weaving on the inside, just filling in the space with more weaving. I feel like I broke my back, but I'm very happy. As this ages, these should curl up and look really, really tropical. For right now, it really doesn't look like much. My next thing to do is I'm going to soak this down. I'm going to spray a hose on it, get it as wet as I can, and then as it dries, I'm hoping it'll take more of the shape of the frame. We'll see. Separating the fronds to give it more of a aged tropical look. Put my fingernail over the seams. Well, there it is so far.
We have a shrub on top of our sheet.
We do. The more it flattens, I think the more tropical it's going to get. We'll see. And now to add to the final touch. Little fairy lights that are solar powered, so I never have to worry about replacing the light or finding an electrical power source. And they will come on every night all by themselves. I have no idea how long this is lasting, if it's going to make it through the season, the year, a couple of years, but I do know that so far, and knock on wood because I don't want to curse it, but it's been a very windy day and it's holding up beautifully. Of course, the minute I turn on the camera, the breeze dies down.